Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Alejandra Zapata. Hago parte del equipo de Consejería Académica y Relaciones Internacionales de Colfuturo. El día de hoy nos acompaña Rebeca, quien es representante de King's College London. Nos estará brindando información en esta sesión acerca de la oferta académica que tienen disponible, cómo pueden iniciar su postulación, qué opciones de financiación hay, y también nos estará hablando puntualmente del convenio que tienen con Colfuturo, el cual actualmente otorga una beca del 100% en el valor de la matrícula para un integrante del programa de semilleros de talento. Quiero recordarles que esta sesión hace parte de una serie de eventos que hemos tenido en enero y en febrero acerca de los convenios que tiene Colfuturo, las becas del 100%. Entonces, si se perdieron de algún webinar, pueden visitar nuestro canal de YouTube, ahí estarán todas las grabaciones, y también a seguir en nuestras redes sociales, Instagram, Facebook y Twitter, para que puedan estar al tanto de toda la programación. Al final vamos a tener un pequeño espacio de preguntas y respuestas, entonces si a lo largo de la charla van teniendo dudas, en la parte inferior de la pantalla van a tener un cajón de Q&A, entonces pueden poner sus preguntas ahí que al final Rebeca las va a contestar. So Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us, for your time, for your interest to present the institution. So you can start.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me to present today some of the postgraduate research information for King's College London. So, as you mentioned, I'm Rebecca Oakey, and I'm the Dean for Doctoral Studies. So I'm the academic lead for PGR, postgraduate research students, and I work closely with Dr. Nigel Eadie, who is the professional service lead or the director of research talent. Okay, so I'm just going to persuade my slides to move on. Yeah, here we go. So King's was absolutely delighted to work in partnership with Colfuturo, and this is a picture of our view from one of our campuses across the River Thames. We are a civic university in the heart of London. We have multiple campuses. King's has at least 2,600 postgraduate research students, and that number is growing rapidly. Of our total of 11,000 international students across undergraduate as well as our masters and our PhD students, we represent 185 countries across the world. As I said, we are on 5 campuses in London. This is the River Thames from above, and as you can see, we have campuses on both sides of the river. We have our biomedical and biosciences campuses on close together, our arts and humanities right in the centre of London with King's Business School, law and social sciences and public policy. Our Institute for Psychiatry, Psychology and Neuroscience and Nursing is located a bit further away from the river at our Denmark Hill campus. So why would you choose King's? Well, King's is world leading in education, research and service. It is a research-led educational institute in the sense that we use research to inform all our teaching. We're a university that really aims to serve the needs and aspirations of society and the wider world. We play a proactive role in interconnected and the complex world, and we're developing students as critical thinkers to influence their futures. At a glance, King's was established in 1829 along with history, teaching, arts and sciences. It's a leading member of what is known in the UK as the Russell Group, so the top research-led universities. It's in the top 10 of the universities in the UK, and we have alumni all over the globe. So there is very strong research across the sciences, health and humanities at King's. There's a real emphasis on collaborative research centres and groups working internationally. So again, King's is a civic university, meaning it has a really strong connection to London and the surrounding areas, but it's really committed to supporting international research and research that benefits the globe, including a strong response to the COVID pandemic. We want to develop all our postgraduate research students as critical thinkers. We're very, very keen to equip students with the skills to develop their own insights and solutions for really diverse challenges. And to do that, we provide cutting-edge research facilities and really excellent libraries. So if you want to know how to apply for a PhD at King's, there's lots of different components to that. First of all, deciding what you want to do, but also the practical side of how do you do it. So for PhD students at King's, we have an entity called the Centre for Doctoral Studies. And the mission of this centre, which is led by Nigel Eady and myself as professional service and academic leads, is to equip research students by providing support, community and training, and really enabling students to make the most of the resources that we have invested in for what amounts to a much fuller and broader education than just the academic mission that they choose to study. So I'm just going to play you a little movie. It's going to tell you a little bit about the training that's offered, as I mentioned, that we're really keen to make available to all students beyond just the academic scholastic project that they want to study.
Our training is really about developing the core behaviours, attributes and skills that young researchers need, whether that's staying in research in the long term or whether that's going off and doing something completely different.
So the MRC DTP is one of the main doctoral training partnerships offered by the Centre for Doctoral Studies at King's here.
So as part of a PhD student, you have to undertake a certain amount of CPD and show that you're still doing training rather than just researching.
Kind of build our skill set outside of what we do in the lab. That's actually how I came in contact with the Centre for Doctoral Studies.
Alongside that, you get all the other opportunities offered by the Centre for Doctoral Studies as well. In the MRC DTP, you have more of the scientific background of statistic courses, training for a particular experimental technique. But alongside that, in the Centre for Doctoral Studies, you have opportunities such as well-being, which I've done myself, also IT skills when trying to reference different things in your reports, as well as how to use Microsoft or PowerPoint, or even to create a presentation.
Being told how to present, so not just to a scientific audience, but also non-scientific audience, I think that was really helpful for me.
I had the opportunity to take several classes around discourse analysis in particular, and also some political economy and kind of methods for dealing with data sets, which have really helped me as I'm finishing up the PhD and figuring out what to do with all of this information that I now have and how to form it into conclusions and push it into publication.
So, oops, so we can advance the slides. So what we see from that is that there's not just academic training, but training around learning what comes next, how to transition into the workforce through careers and employability, how to be the best communicator that you can to make your impact heard. There are some essentials such as just doing your write-up and getting your thesis submitted on time. Certainly tools around how to use the King's information technology, how to make you the best you can be. So personal effectiveness. And I suppose, especially during the pandemic, it's come to be really clear that resilience and well-being is an absolute must. We must look after our students, especially those who've come a very long way to be in London. We give workshops on data management, which of course, as we go forward, digital literacy is absolutely essential. There won't be a job that you're going to do that is not going to in some way need some data management and digital literacy. And of course, writing and publishing. So once you have new knowledge, how do you convey that knowledge to the right audiences at the right levels at the right time? So we do these through several modes of delivery, interactive workshops, one-to-one appointments, and online courses and seminars. And we also strongly believe in cohort building, so that all students have the opportunity to learn from their cohort and also make connections, networks, friends for life. So how do you go about deciding what to do? I mean, it's really difficult. Sometimes you're pretty much born knowing what you're going to want to do for the rest of your life. You've always wanted to be a photographer and you're going to be one, and that's it. Other people find their destinations much later in their educational journey. So if you finished either your undergraduate or your master's and you're thinking, okay, so I roughly know what I want to do, you would come and look and into the website of a potential university and think about your general areas of interest. And that could be science, technology, engineering and maths, health, politics, economy and society, management, finance and law, or arts and humanities. And it's usually the case that it's quite clear where your particular area of interest falls within these general academic disciplines. So on our website, you can choose the faculty as I just described, and then you can look for departments that match your interest. So you might know that, for example, history is going to be in arts and humanities, and that you know that where dentistry is going to be because it's embedded in oral and craniofacial sciences, or you're interested in mental health and you're going to click on psychiatry, psychology, or neuroscience. So it's just a question of having a look round the website. Once you've found a department, you can hone down on the subgroupings of the disciplines within a particular school. For example, this is my school, and it has the Centre for Human and Applied Physiological Sciences, the Centre for Stem Cells and Regenerative Medicine, Department of Medical and Molecular Genetics, the Centre for Cell and Molecular Biophysics, and the Institute for Dermatology. And that's quite a broad range. It's all underpinned by biosciences, cell biology, genetics, and within those particular groups of 5, you'll find 20 or so or more different investigators working on quite specific projects, which is a reasonably doable number to search through to find something that really captures your curiosity and makes you think, yeah, I'd really like to work on that. I'm very interested in psoriasis. I'm very interested in muscle regeneration, or whatever the question. So finding a supervisor in health and the health and sciences faculties is pretty straightforward. You find that area of research you're interested in, you go and see who works on those areas, and you send emails to as many people as you feel you would like to talk to. It's really important to do that to more than one person, because very often, you know, your email might not come to the top of the pile and another investigator will immediately pounce on it. You just can't tell. Depends on what the situation is with funding for a particular individual, or whether their lab is full, or whether they're really looking for some new exciting students. In business, arts and humanities, social sciences and law, you use the department of interest to you to search the website to look for a particular supervisor who is interested in your research proposal. So the difference here is, in science and health faculties, you're going to look at projects that are pre-written, that are predestined, that have already been thought out. And in the arts and social sciences, it's a little bit more, you're going to decide what that project is and discuss that with the supervisor and come up with a mutually acceptable proposal. So we have a research portal that you can search and find people by name, people by keyword of your academic area, or if you've heard of someone else who's been to a group, or you liked a paper you've read, or you saw a presentation at a conference, anything that you'd like to search for, you can pretty much pick up those keywords by using this research portal. And the URL is here, and it's called KCL Pure. If you type in KCL Pure, you'll come up with this database. So don't forget, writing that first email is really important. Tell the lab head or the group leader what your interests are, where you're coming from, whether you have funding, what interests you, what you're curious about with that particular person's research area. Capture their interest in you as you have captured your interest in them already. When you write a personal statement, which might be important when you're applying for a PhD that's funded, you need to include your academic achievements, but not just your grades. Put in there something about yourselves. Did you win a prize? Have you been ranked in your class? Did you organize something really important for public engagement or outreach? Have you done something interesting with a patient lobbying group? Have you done something with some conservationists? Many, many different things you can put in a personal statement that will capture the eye of the reader. So if you have any conference presentations local in your area, or more broadly, which has obviously become something that students have had more opportunities to do with the last 2 years being largely online conferences. Have you had any research activity placements, summer projects? Why are you interested in this subject? Tell the reader you have an inquiring mind, and I've always felt that your academic curiosity is as yet unsatisfied. And talk about your commitment. What is your commitment? What do you think you can bring to research? Obviously, King's has very, very, very broad portfolio, not just in science and health, but in arts and humanities, so in social science and public policy, business law. And so the breadth is really, really excellent. So if you have any thoughts about what you're interested in, the likelihood is that there's going to be quite a few choices for you to think about at King's. So at the moment, I suppose the growth areas are going to be in artificial intelligence in many areas, especially in healthcare. Healthcare and artificial intelligence are a real strength at King's, particularly looking at imaging data and developing future diagnostics in that space. Certainly, King's has a strong connection to looking at health data sciences and omics data, how to analyze data, how to make the most of what we have in the public domain. Also, there's been a lot of research around COVID, development of diagnostics, as well as research looking at the Zoe app, which has been very interesting in following the pandemic through lived experience. And beyond these, of course, huge areas in the social sciences and arts and humanities, where the impact is, of course, not so much in research papers, but in completely other types of output. So if you have any questions at all, you must feel free to contact us at doctoralstudies@kcl.ac.uk. And those inquiries, just tell us how you heard of us. So say that you watched this recording, or you were present at this talk, and that you want to follow up on some questions around funding or applications or interdisciplinary regions, whatever it is that you're interested in. And please do use our grant funding website to see what funding you might be eligible for as well. So thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, I will move my cursor over the chat.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And I have one question for you.
Yes.
Which recommendation will you give people that are in the process of applying about the time of preparation or specific requirements?
So if you're applying right now for 2022 entry, is that what your question is about? Yes. So there is a deadline. I forget the actual deadline, but the deadline for October 2022 entry is somewhere in August or something like that. It's got a little bit of time yet. But if you're looking for supervisors, just get in touch with anyone at the Centre for Doctoral Studies, and we will be very happy to help put you in contact with all of those relevant supervisors who are in your area of interest. Do not hesitate, because it's sometimes a bit intimidating to not know who you're writing an email to on a sort of generic email website. But in this case, a real person is going to be sitting there answering your questions. So if you feel you want to explore the opportunities for different types of supervisors and different types of scholarly areas that you can't quite identify because the website is difficult to navigate, because it often is, we'll be very happy to guide you. In terms of timelines, you've got quite a while yet before you have to submit your application, but there is never, ever, it's never too early. So as quickly as possible, as soon as possible. And then if you don't get any responses from the online admissions portal, just get in touch with us, and we'll make sure that those things are proceeded through what is a sort of automated system.
Okay. David asks, the masters are available for management?
So for master student, for taught, postgraduate taught, I would have, so I'm mostly in postgraduate research. So for postgraduate taught, which is what a master's is, I'm not sure if there is something in management. I'd have to look that up, but I will do.
Okay. David asks, can you give more details about the scholarships for students from the Semillero Colfuturo? Are they also available for King's College Business School?
Yes, there would be no reason why you couldn't have them for King's College Business School. So it's just another faculty in our university. So if you have your own guidelines for your eligibility for the institution, and I understand that once you have approved King's, then any of these courses would be suitable.
Ok, perfecto. Yo aquí quiero hacer una aclaración y contar más o menos en qué consiste este programa de semillero para las personas que no lo saben. El programa de semillero lo que busca es encontrar los mejores estudiantes, se hacen unas convocatorias al año, en este momento hay una convocatoria abierta, y lo que hace el semillero de Colfuturo es un acompañamiento totalmente personalizado, puede ser un acompañamiento hasta por 3 años. Entonces revisan sus opciones de programas a los que ustedes quieren participar, les ayudan a hacer hoja de vida, propuesta investigativa, todo esto les van a ayudar a hacer desde el semillero de Colfuturo, pero es una convocatoria adicional, ¿listo? Igualmente, si hacen parte del semillero de Colfuturo, tienen que presentarse al programa Crédito Beca para poder acceder al convenio con King's College. Y uno de los requisitos es que pues deben contar con mínimo 3 meses de antigüedad en el programa de semillero de talentos para poder brindarles pues el beneficio con King's College. ¿Sí? We don't have more questions, Rebecca.
Okay. Don't hesitate to send us an email if you do.
Yes, all the information was very, very useful. And this is the email for Rebecca. You can contact she. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for being here, for doing the presentation, and for joining us today.
Thank you very much indeed. I hope to see some of you at King's College London in the future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye.